Hey guys, how you doing? Uncle Steph here. So somebody asked me, have you heard of a situation where a web developer has been able to create passive income with their projects? If so, how? Well, of course, I've done it a few times, and there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can approach this. Well, there's a few ways you can approach this. The most obvious, of course, is to create a SaaS product, a software as a service. It could be any type of thing. It could be B2C, B2B. B2C is business to client.
See, I think even yesterday, learning, trying to dabble back into the programming world, a lot of us developers face this one thing. And I keep saying developers. We are programmers. We are not just developers. We have to find a problem. We don't have to just make a software as a service. We have to find a problem first, and if it could be transformed into a software that you can charge as a service, that could be your selling point. You get what I mean? But I feel like we always have to remind ourselves what the problem is. Because if we don't remind ourselves what the problem is, we oftentimes find ourselves walking into it blindly. And we don't want that, because that's where imposter syndrome comes from and all of those things that kind of keep a developer back. But just want to share my spiel.
Business to business is B2B. This is not so much about software development, but it's more about understanding industries that it's about understanding industries. So for example, maybe you're worked at coffee shops for years, and you understand what coffee shops might need, independent coffee shops might need in terms of software. What could you provide to them as a service, perhaps, in the form of a piece of software that might make sense for them? I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas here. So
here's what I want to say too, because oftentimes people give ideas, but it's not really tangible for us to listen to. If you want to really find a project, you have to find something that you're, I wouldn't say passionate about, but you really want to solve the problem too. Because it's like for me, for instance, I like music. I try to mix music with tech a lot, just to make my workflow easier. You know what I mean? To make things seamless. Other people might use the software for different reasons, but the softwares I'm working on is tailored to a specific hobby that I like a lot. That's tedious, and it saves me time. What's your problem solving issue? You know what I mean? And for me, my biggest, struggle would be being able to put it on market. Not everyone has the finances, and you know how the market takes percentages and all of those upfront costs that you gotta have just to have it up and running. Some people don't have those resources. So it's really a selling point to another employer or a person who wants to offer you a contract as to why you're a developer, why you're a better developer. Not everything is about passive income. And I know we focus on that because we don't have a lot of work coming in, so we try to supplement it, but not everything is passive income. It's just a quick fix.
For example, with myself, with my current SaaS, Studio Web, which is an educational software, and many schools and districts use it and have used it over the years, and I came up with the basic idea, the basic concept.
He said something key right there. I'm going to stop pausing it, and that's why I sped it up. It's a 4-minute video, but he said something key. He got the school district behind him. He made an educational platform. In my experience of working in that niche, it's not that hard to get into the system. What I mean is the public directory is available online. So you literally have to make the software, and then you're on the road selling your software. It's easy. You have a location where you're going to sell it to. You have a product. It's all on you. So getting it into schools is not that hard. If you have a software as a service that's the coffee, like he said, that's going to probably be hard for you to get to a person because then you have to do the sales part. It's not as easy.
Based on what I understood about schools and education, teaching, and then I slowly put it out to more and more districts and more schools as I onboarded them and the software evolved. But that's an example where I was able to create passive income from my projects. Another simpler one that I did in the past was I built a piece of software that would monitor websites, whether they went offline and so forth. This is back in the 90s, I guess the late 90s, early 2000s. So it was a website monitoring service I built. I built it with Ruby, by the way. And it would just ping to see if a site was down. If the site didn't respond in a certain amount of time, it would run through a process. And if it found that the site was offline, it would send an email to the client, and the client could then, the client would know how often does their site go down. Anyway, that was the service. A very simple one. I don't know. I didn't have too many clients on that one. I decided to drop that business after a short period of time. I've had a dating site, again, passive income there. Easier ways of passive income is you could, for example, start providing hosting for your freelance clients. Now, that is something I would be wary of, because when you are providing hosting services, you're basically on the hook 24/7. But let's say you build up a site for your small business owner. Instead of putting on a third-party host, you create your own hosting company. You can do that pretty easily by partnering with a company, get a VPS, install a control panel, and away you go, Bob's your uncle. You can start providing full hosting services for your typical small business. Again, I don't know if you want to pursue that. That only becomes interesting when you got lots and lots of clients. I did do that. And at one point, I had, I don't know how many clients on board, maybe 2,000 clients. I had not built contracts. I had not built sites for all these clients, of course, but I built up this hosting business, starting with my clients. Eventually, I didn't like it, though, because I kept on getting calls and tech support requests. So I eventually offloaded that thing. So I'm just off the top of my head, those are two ways to
That's what I was gonna say too, because you never want to have a business that's becomes so dependent on you.
generate passive income with your web development skills. Again, it's not so much about the technical implementation is the issue, it's just figuring out the business model. You're gonna have to figure out the business model and see how you might be able to sell those skills in a passive income way. That is typically about creating a SaaS product, a software as a service. Although there are other ways you can do that as well. I'm Uncle Steph. I mentor people in the ways of software development. Not only do I teach you how to code like a pro, but I teach you how to monetize those skills, how to turn them into a job, into a business, all that good stuff. All right, you can find me at unclesteph.com, links below. And I also have solo self-paced courses as well if you like.
Honestly, I feel like the programming and developer community is in for a weird shock, because people who are old would be considered senior devs and could get jobs right now because of their experience, having like 10, 20 years. Yeah, that shit gonna stop soon, bro. Because influencers and all of this programming online will take over, in the sense that people will have a platform to see other great developers. Right now, we don't really believe that there's a 26-year-old developer or a 25-year-old developer who has just as much skills as a 20-year-old developer with senior in all of these languages. To the businesses watching, nigga, tech stacks don't make the programmer. The problem-solving capabilities make the programmer. The tech stack is just tools in our toolbox that we have to help you out. Stop fucking asking if we know this tech stack. You don't even know the issues you have, my nigga. Just let the developer be a developer.